welcome back to the regular exclusive podcast. And Renee, you told me that you were able to see the Odyssey this weekend. And I was very jealous because I wanted to go, but I did not want to go enough to sit in the front row and just look at the chins of all the actors on screen.
Yeah, that was pretty much all that was available near me, but then we ended up lucking out and getting to like regular seats together and it was perfect.
Nice.
And we didn't see it on the 70 millimeter like film, but we did see like on the big 4K like IMAX screen. So
Yeah.
we didn't like get the, cut like basically half the film cut off basically when you check out that like the difference between the different resolutions is crazy. So
Yeah. Well, what'd you think of it?
I loved it. Like, point aside, you should always see it, I think, at the biggest IMAX screen possible. I think that's just the only way to fully experience it. But my God, it was like when they're on the ship, you're on the ship with them. Like the fucking lightning, the storms, the wind, like it feels like you're literally there. When they're in the Trojan horse, it's like just such a unique way of depicting it, and the whole like sacking of Troy that just had so much more emotional weight than we've ever seen in even Troy. Like I still think Troy is an okay watch before the Odyssey, but like
Yeah.
the Odyssey hits like the emotional feels like 1,000 times more and really just does everything justice. Like I was not disappointed by one factor of it. It also has the best dog in the history of cinema.
Ooh, what? That's a bold claim.
Oh,
So,
well,
I mean, we've talked about this movie since like they dropped the first trailer for it, and even before the trailer, this felt like it was going to be the most like hyped, anticipated movie in a while, maybe since Oppenheimer, I guess. But so it sounds like it lives up to the hype.
yeah, and I think like it's nuts if you look at like critics and audience score, it's like both at like 96% or something, which is nuts. I really feel this is like Christopher Nolan's like his whole entire film career has been like his Odyssey leading to this point. Like this feels like his best work
Oh,
for sure. And I think it might be my new favorite, but every single cast member is used perfectly. Any casting things that people were freaking out about, like just totally go out the window. And I love the fact that like he used a ton of different people and like made this story accessible to everyone really. But the casting, he nails it. Special shout out to Robert Pattinson and John Leguizamo because those two just fucking killed it. And Samantha Morton, who plays Cersei the Witch. And she is, I think her and John Leguizamo might even be like, they're in talks already for Oscar noms. And this movie
I've
sweep
heard
the
John
Oscars.
Liam was on. I can't ever say his last name. I've heard he's
Leguizamo.
amazing. Like
Oh, he's so good. I hope he gets nominated and wins because that guy is well overdue for an Oscar. He's so good.
he's one of those guys that's been around forever. Like
Hmm.
he's one of those actors that you kind of feel like everyone in the world has seen him in something.
Yeah.
Like he's just done so many
He's
things.
one of that guys that you're just like,
Yeah.
I know that guy 100%. You might not know exactly, but I always think of him in like Moulin Rouge and then Romeo and Juliet.
And then most
Um,
recently, like The Menu, he was great
yeah,
in
he
that.
was so good in The Menu, and then also in the what are the Santa Claus movies with the action movies with
Oh,
what's his
oh
face,
yeah,
David
yeah,
Harbour.
Violent Night. Yeah.
Violent Night, yeah. He
Yeah,
was
he's
Scrooge,
good.
right?
Yeah. uh
But
Good
he's
stuff.
very different here and very like emotional and like just a really great like heart of the story. But Matt Damon, even who I'm not even like, I'm more on the Jimmy Kimmel, like, oh, sorry, we don't have time for him because he's just so normal. But he really delivers in this movie. Everybody does. And I just thought it was just a delight to watch in cinemas. And yeah, it just everything was a marvel. I also will tell you the Cyclops scream is like a sound I've never heard before in my life. The soundtrack too is incredible. Like, I mean, the score is what I mean, but just all of it. It all comes together so beautifully and it's definitely like it's the best thing Christopher Nolan's ever made. I think everyone
Wow.
is pretty universal on that right now, but like I'm just here to reiterate it.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see it. And then it sounds like it's a movie we're going to end up talking about on the pod. So,
Oh yeah. If we don't like, I mean, not that I'm, and like I had pretty strong feelings against Oppenheimer, but I would say this feels like a lot of ways a spiritual sequel to Oppenheimer, and if not, it's like very similar to like the wartime terrible decisions we have to make and how that affects humanity. And I just think like his point is very similar in both movies, but it's just so well executed here.
Nice.
He is just so much to me, it's 1,000 times better. So, and I would never say we have like I'm not a Christopher Nolan stan. So I think that that maybe will help some people if they're like, I feel like people are just trying to find something wrong with it, or Elon Musk says he's gonna have his fucking AI bot
I saw
make like
that and I'm just like,
an AI version of it in like ancient Greek with like actual like accurate casting, and I was like, get out of here. Nobody wants to see that. Plus, well, like it's like just watch this movie and you will fucking everyone will shut up about it because it's brilliant, and like everything that you think could be a special effect is actually like practical. I mean,
yeah,
it's a marvel, and it's exactly everything you and I really love about film. And it's like he fucking made a new IMAX had to make a new fucking camera just to film this fucking thing.
yeah.
So the least you can do is go see it in IMAX, everybody.
That's awesome. Well, we're also going to talk about two trailers here today, and I heard one of these trailers was played before the Odyssey.
Yes. So I was told that Dune was there was like a couple minutes of Dune, maybe the first few minutes of Dune was going to play before the Odyssey. So and it was going to start right at like exact time. That's what I heard online. Then I get there, it's like 30 minutes of fucking trailers, and no Dune. There was a Dune trailer, but like no new footage or anything. So I was pretty
Uh,
disappointed. However, we did get the trailer for Other Mommy with Jessica Chastain, and I'll tell you that shit scared the shit out of me in theaters. The first jump scare made me. I literally like leapt in my seat because that was when I was like, oh hell no,
it
that fucking
that
thing.
is a crazy jump scare. It's also crazy to put that in the Odyssey because like I don't feel like Nolan heads are necessarily horror heads.
No,
And
but there's like horror. There's a lot of horror in the Odyssey. It's
yeah,
like a horrific story in a lot of places. And it's way more, it's the most horror like film that Christopher Nolan's ever made. So like I can see why, but like still it does feel like a
yeah.
stretch because this movie is like Nolan was like going, I think he went to pee or something either during or before this. And I think he came in during or at the end, but I was like, oh, thank God you weren't here at the beginning because that fucking shit scared the shit out of me.
Well, it looks really good. The cover for it reminds me so much of Evil Dead Rise, just like
Hmm.
her face and that smile. But yeah, I mean it looks really scary. Also, I love Jessica Chastain, and I think the only other horror movie she's done was Crimson Peak.
No, no,
And,
she's also been in It Chapter 2, and
oh,
then
that's right. That's right.
she
That's
was also in what was it? Fuck, there was another one that she was in.
right.
Oh, it was like the first thing. It was Mama. That was the one she was in. It was like a
Oh,
Spanish
okay.
director, like one of Guillermo del Toro's guys.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
it was like one of their first films, and I think that one she's in, and I want to say the guy who plays Jamie Lannister is also in that.
Hmm.
I could be wrong though. I haven't seen that one in a long time, but she's been in horror movies before. But I don't. I mean, maybe in Mama she gets to do some of that, but because that's also kind of like a demon coming in as the mom. But I don't think it's Jessica Chastain. I think it's like a separate entity. This looks like she gets to have fun being the crazy fuck, and I
Yeah.
love that for her. This looks like a little bit like she gets to do a lot like some obsession kind of shit,
Yeah.
but
And
like as scary mommy. And I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be upsetting. Just like that twisted head under the fucking counter. You're like, nope. That's the fact that I'm saying nope is actually a good thing. That means yes, I need to see this. Nolan will
it,
never see this in theaters, but I want
th-
to.
this is like this is the type of horror movie that I hate. I hate because I'm so scared of it. The movie where the protagonist and the antagonist are the same actor. So the
Oh
whole
yeah.
movie, I'm just gonna have butt cheeks clenched, ready to realize, nope, that's not the good one. That's the bad one.
Oh yeah, there's always got to be a little switcheroo. And this one, it's like I mean, outside of the twisting of the body and shit, I mean, did they looked kind of similar.
Yeah.
But I just thought that like trailer just of the scene of her making the macaroni and then just like really twisting it. And I just think they showed enough. I hope that further trailers don't spoil more of the movie. But like so
Mhm.
far, like what they've shown, I think is like this could be another huge horror movie of the year, which like this year is literally already loaded with horror films.
Yeah.
Obsession came out in May. We still got fucking all the way to Werewolf in December. So
Well,
we got a ton of shit.
and the director is Rob Savage, who
Mm.
we were both big fans of The Boogeyman a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that he knows how to do a horror movie. Now the question that I have is the other mommy, is she going to end up being some sort of a monster like the boogeyman was?
Mm.
'Cause he,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
he's good with the creature feature.
he is. But it looks like it's more of like a fun creature feature. His first movie was Host. Did you see that one? I think that one
Wasn't
came out during 2020. It was like the Zoom movie where they do like a seance,
It's
like
kind
all
of
the
like
girls.
Unfriended?
Yeah, it's kind of like it, but they do
I
like a
didn't see
seance.
that one,
It's
but
on
I
Zoom.
remember
It's
hearing about it.
Yeah, it was good. I never saw his other follow-up after Boogie or before Boogeyman was Dash Cam, but people said the main character sucked in that one or was really annoying. But I think Other Mommy has a lot of potential. So
Well, I mean, I think Host and Dashcam, those were like the low budget horror
totally.
projects. And then like the Boogeyman was like one of his first ones that was like, let's give you a budget. We don't have to go found footage
Let's
style.
give you a Stephen King though. That feels a little. I mean, I guess they're just they were throwing those away earlier,
Yeah.
the last couple of years. Now they've kind of pulled it back, but
Yeah. Well, then the other trailer that just dropped, which we are both very excited for, is Clayface. We got a teaser, a couple months ago,
yeah.
and this one, like, we actually get the story, and I am so pumped for this movie. And I think the I mean, obviously Mike Flanagan wrote it, so we're really excited there. But from the trailer, like, this doesn't feel like a superhero movie, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and I mean it is I guess have they done a successful like villain only movie outside of like Batman or I guess not Batman because he's like, but outside of like Joker, I guess. It feels
Are you
like
talking about
Joker
DC?
in general. I mean,
Well,
has Marvel
there's
really
all the Spider-Man villain movies like Venom,
the
and
nut yeah, I guess they were successful, but they weren't like great
they
movies,
weren't. Yeah,
right?
no, they
This
weren't. No.
feels like it'll feel more in line with like Joker, where it feels like it's gonna be a really quality standalone story,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is what we want and what these should be if you're trying to make it by itself. Because like those Spider-Man ones, it's like, yeah, they didn't have anything to do with Spider-Man, but they really didn't have anything to do with anything. I feel like they were just pretty fun or silly, but like they didn't do much for themselves. And a lot of them were just like dead on arrival. They did one movie and it was like, nope, like Madam Web and like, Craven.
Yeah.
I almost said Krampus. I would have fucking watched the Krampus Marvel film if there was one. But
And my least favorite part of Joker was how they forced in a Bruce Wayne cameo when he's a kid. I'm
exactly.
just like, we don't need this.
But then I kind of like that he's like, well, I'll put him in as a kid so that like this Joker has nothing to fucking do with that guy.
Yeah.
Clearly, unless he's gonna be fighting baby Batman. That's on you guys. That's on you, Warner Brothers, DC. But this one feels like so cool. And I've never watched the animated series, but Mike Flanagan wrote this and he said that Feet of Clay, part 1 and 2 episodes from
Mhm.
Batman the animated series was like the main inspiration for making a Clayface film.
It's funny. I grew up watching Batman the animated series, and like looking back on some of those storylines as adults, I'm like, these are dark. Like, kids are watching this, so it's like I can imagine why Mike Flanagan was drawn to it. But it looks really dark. The director, James Watkins, like, he only does dark movies. He did Eden Lake, which is like one of the most bleak movies I've ever seen. Speak No Evil.
He did
Um,
the Speak No Evil remake. Let's clarify that.
yeah. He did Black Mirror episodes. Like, he's really good. So I think this is a really good pairing of him and Mike Flanagan together. And yeah, like, it looks dark and fucked up and
Yeah.
badass. And Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
This makes me want like I mean, I feel like Sebastian Vanacek was just saying he wants to do like The Mask, like, Jim
Yeah,
Carrey's The Mask, but like the body horror, like dark version from like the comics. And I'm like, if Marvel did something like that, that'd be so fucking sick. Cause like that could be on the level of this. That's what I'm thinking of, like this body horror shit of like, but for me, I don't really know much about Clayface, but it sounds disgusting, like his condition. And from the trailer, I'm like, oh my God, I just feel so much inspiration from like 80s like prosthetics, but especially anything David Cronenberg, like
hmm
and even that one that I made you watch, what was it? Where they like all do the shunting at the end.
uh, that sounds familiar, but I can't
Fuck,
remember
I
the
can't
name of
think of
it.
that.
Well, I mean, for in terms of like getting an idea of like what powers he has, just think of Spider-Man 3, the Sandman.
Oh, gross. Okay,
But
okay. Well,
but
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 he's wet. Yeah.
clay and mud instead of
That's
sand.
why
But
that's why it's more disgusting. It's like
yeah,
wet sand. It's basically like one step away from like quicksand and like
yeah,
shit, which is upsetting.
yeah.
Okay, I just found out. I had to Google the shunting, which I don't recommend anybody do, but it's from the movie Society. Just the
Oh
way they
yeah.
do some of those prosthetics at the end with like some of the like body parts fusing together, it felt very similar to the way that he was looking with like his face melting.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, and I'm sorry to put that on everyone's radar. So if you need to watch that scene, go for it. That's really what's worth it for the whole movie. But um the fact that this is coming from Mike Flanagan is just like I'm automatically in. But this trailer really cements that like this looks like a really great story outside of anything to do with Batman. And they don't even have a Batman for the DCU. So I'm
Yeah.
not worried about them shoehorning anybody in, right?
Yeah, and if this is great, the question will then be, does this come into James Gunn's universe, or does this can this maybe pop over to a Rob Pattinson Batman 3? Because
Mm.
if it's great, that would be a great collaboration.
I don't think so. I think Matt Reeves would have to be more involved. This is through James Gunn.
Oh,
This
okay.
is his part of DCU, but I like the fact that it seems grounded and like gritty and dark enough that it could be like a part
Mm,
of like the more adult Batman universe, even though we have a young Batman, but it is the more like darker, grittier, like just kind of a different version of so far what DC has been. But DC has really been all over the place at this point, so they can be anything they want.
well, maybe since Supergirl bombed pretty hard, maybe Clayface can save the day.
They said that they're not like banking on just one movie at this point. They're like, some things are not going to work, some things are, but we're like figuring things out, right? So
Yeah.
I like that. That feels like let's throw different stuff at the board. And I really hope this is a full on horror film. It looks like it, but like we see some good stuff in the trailers, but like I hope they go full on body horror, like
Yeah.
like if this is rated R, I'd be very, very happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a little break and then get into the back rooms.
I found something in the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The place. I found a place. Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof. All right, you feel me? Yes. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been there every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow. Oh my God. Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see? All these rooms. This place builds them. It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me? I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful. Am I right?
All right, let's talk about another May horror classic movie, The Backrooms. And this movie did not disappoint. I was very excited for it. And then I went to the theaters and it was a packed theater. It's like the first time I feel like I've been in like a booked out theater in a while. And it was so fun. Like just watching this movie with a full theater just felt good. It felt right, for everyone to be going to the movies again.
Yeah, I agree. I was a little worried because I had heard that like people were saying, "Oh, I wish I see Backrooms." People were talking, and there was a bunch of people just like being loud or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, is this not attracting the right crowds?" Is what I was worried about. But when I went and saw it, it was perfectly fine, and it was a full packed theater, and it was great because it was oddly silent. I think the entire time, except for like a couple scenes where some people, like maybe one person, was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Like, and then, we'd all kind of silently chuckle, but still be like fucking on edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it feels like this was one of the better, like one of the weirder horror experiences because it was like a packed theater, but we weren't like all screaming and like yelling together and like
Yeah. People were just
wasn't-
locked in.
people were just absolutely locked in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was also nice, like the theater was full of young people, and it
Mhm.
reminded me of like when I used to go to the movies because it was just like people in their sweats. People brought blankets, like the person next to me was eating sushi, and I was like, this is nice. This reminds me of the good stuff.
You are like maybe the one person who would be like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm excited by someone else eating sushi in the theater for the nostalgia."
Hey,
Um,
bad sense of smell, so it doesn't really bother me all that
I
much.
do feel like I remember in high school, like you would bring teriyaki into the theater and shit. So this tracks for you. But yeah, no, it did feel like kind of a lot of young people coming in, and like same with Obsession. Really like showing that this is something we want more of, which is good because like again, something original, something from a YouTuber first film, and man, the success it's seen has been so incredible, and I'm really excited for Kane Parsons.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I mean, first off, he was a kid when he started doing this on YouTube, but then
16, right?
yeah, he was like 15 or 16 or something. And I just remember when they announced that he was going to direct the movie, I was like, I can't believe someone's actually giving this kid a chance to direct his own IP. Like, the story, the imagery is based off a creepypasta, which Kane Parsons, I learned when he did the YouTube series, he didn't even know what the creepypasta was. Like he saw the picture on like Instagram and he just started like playing around with it. And when he posted the first video, like some of the comments were just like, "This is wrong. This isn't the Backrooms." Because like he's like, "What are they talking about? Like, what is this creepy pasta thing?" And then, like he learned, but then like people slowly came around and they're just like, you know what, this is the Backrooms. This is what we like now. But I remember just being so surprised that they were letting this 18-year-old kid, they were giving him $10 million to direct this movie. Like, I mean, shout out to A24. It feels like they're going in the wrong direction now with all this AI stuff. But like, I thought it was so cool that they're like, hey, let's give this kid a shot. This is his thing. He's been wildly successful with just while going to high school, and he crushed it. I just remember reading that he was doing the movie, and I was like, that's awesome.
It's really, really cool. And I feel like I was exactly the same as you, where I was like, holy shit, they're giving a fucking 18-year-old kid a fucking contract to make a film. I love that for A24. I also love that Kane Parsons has said publicly recently that he like doesn't agree with the AI shit that A24 is doing. But
we just talked about that movie that him and Osgood Perkins are doing. Maybe they will go to Universal. I don't know.
Or to Neon, you mean?
Oh yeah, Neon.
Right? Yeah, they'll go. I mean, maybe they could go to Universal, but I bet like they might go to Neon now. But I mean, he still is. I think he has an offer on the table with A24 right now, including like other movies and the Backrooms, and it's like so it's a multi-figure deal and multi-film And yeah, I mean, he's also got offers. It sounds like every studio's trying to get him.
Dude,
So
A24 is like ready to give him reach arounds on demand just to
I
like
mean,
do whatever movies they can.
the
Because this
fact that he
movie,
did this film and it's so good is pretty fucking impressive. I feel like I totally am not surprised that these studios are trying to all give him the reach around.
yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of what was the movie? Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. What was the movie that like Jordan Peele really wanted to produce and he fired his team that didn't get the rights to it? Came out-
Weapons.
Weapons, yes. Thank
You
you.
just forgot about weapons.
I forgot. Yeah, yes, I'm embarrassed, but
We should edit this out. This is
leave
bad
it.
luck.
But yeah, it does feel kind of like that. Like him and Curry Barker must just be like, they must be like kicking their feet up and just be like, entertain me, win me over. Like,
I hope they're not letting it go to their heads, but also like I would be like, holy fuck. Like I think I just saw Christopher Nolan said Obsession like works like a motherfucker. That's a great concept, a great film. And I was just like, Curry Barker might be dead now. Someone should check his pulse to be like,
Well,
is he
it
still
did-
alive after hearing that? But like both of these guys have gotten praise from like Spielberg and shit like that, and like everybody. And it's interesting because Kane Parsons is even like, I mean, he's what 20 now, but he
Yeah.
was 19 when he made the film because he had to graduate high school first. Fucking nuts. And I think he's so talented for like, I was worried this would be like Skinamarink, and I don't think it is. I think he's very different though. Maybe we should talk about it now, but like compared to Curry Barker, they're both YouTubers having this huge success right now. So like
Yeah.
definitely like similar in that way. But I do think overall, like I imagine two totally different careers for them. I'm glad both of them are getting a chance, but it feels like Kane Parsons has mostly done backrooms, right?
Yeah.
That's like pretty much what he's done on YouTube, and then maybe like one or two other things, a couple things that are not backrooms related, but
Yeah.
it's like mostly all backroom stuff, which is impressive on its own. That he's built this entire like fucking lore and universe within the like this just random photo idea that like someone posted once. Like it's insane. And I love the fact that like he's really, I mean, just the fact that he's focused on one thing and built it up to be what it is very impressive to me. Whereas Curry Barker feels like he's kind of been all over the map and he's had success in a lot of different areas because he's done a lot of, you know, sketch
He's
kind
done
of
a lot of
comedy.
comedy. He's built like,
Yeah.
a presence on
More
social
variety.
media. You know,
Mhm.
it's a lot more similar to like Raka Raka, you know, or Whitest Kids You Know. Like it's a lot more similar to that versus like Kane Parsons. Like, yeah, it is like he's a kid when he started doing Backrooms. So like this was just like his little side project that he's doing. And then the first one that he puts, the first episode that he drops just blows up, and he's like, well, I guess I got to do more. And it's so interesting watching. I just rewatched the Backroom series, and like each of these segments are all over the place in terms of like time. Like they range from like 10 minutes to 2 minutes, and then there's one that's 45 minutes. Like it, like
Yeah, I
some of
noticed
them,
that too.
some of them are very like Skinamarink, where it's just like an image and then there's audio behind it. But yeah, like you really had to build this whole world out. And the thing that I did not know until rewatching, as I was rewatching it, I was like, how the hell did they find a place with all of these weird rooms and hallways? And then I learned that he animated it all on Blender, which is just like a free thing. Like, you remember that animated movie from a couple of years ago, Flow, that won the
Yeah.
Oscar? That was made on Blender.
Oh,
And
really?
so like I didn't realize that he just did this whole found footage thing through an animator. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's fucking cool. And so then it was even more cool when the movie, they actually built the back rooms. And I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit. But
It sounds like he was able to use a lot of his process in the way that they would do that in Blender for like the storyboarding aspect and being able to use that same kind of method. But I saw an interview where he was just talking about like, you know, things that would take him months to do because he would do every aspect of it.
yeah.
He said the greatest part about being on set was like that multiple teams could tackle things at once,
Yeah.
but it was like it was still all the same stuff that he would be doing, right? And the same like kind of ideas behind it, but it was just like everybody working together versus like him having to do literally everything.
Yeah.
And I really hate that there were even rumors and people crazy online trying to like say that he didn't direct this film. That whole controversy was straight up stupid, and I
Yeah.
hate that that was even a thing. And like, just huge like shout out to Mark Duplass for standing up
Shutting that
for
down.
yeah, shutting that down, replying to individual comments, and making his own video. Like, way to be a fucking stand-up guy, literally.
Yeah.
I
Because
love
Mark
Mark
Duplass has been championing like this kind of filmmaking forever. But
He's
to get
the
back to
indie goddess, the indie god, I guess I would
yeah,
say.
to get back to your question though of like their careers and the differences, like I think longevity and let's say longevity and successive like hit movies, I think Curry Barker has the edge. And the main reason is just Curry Barker has creative experience. Like Kane Parsons, this is an incredible story of him like taking this little thing and then doing a movie from it. But he's got to come up with new ideas. And I mean, I love that he's partnering with people like Osgood Perkins and stuff to like help him with that. But like with someone like Curry Barker, who's been in sketch comedy and doing social media and YouTube and all this stuff, like you have to constantly be thinking of ideas and like fleshing them out. And I feel like just the muscle memory is more defined with someone like Curry Barker and his like duo or team. Where I think I could see it taking a little while for Kane Parsons to really like figure out what's the next thing. I mean, Osgood Perkins is going to help him a lot, especially with the writing process. But like both of them have such bright futures. It feels like.
I agree with you 100%. I think you're totally right. I think a lot of it will come down to like the original features outside of the back rooms that Kane Parsons does, and like to see how those are. Cause like I could see how incredible and detailed he is here, and like translating to another film or even like another series of something. I mean, who knows if he wants to do multiple different projects, or like it seems like he likes one idea and locks in and kind of like, I mean, maybe he should do TV. I think he'd be great there. Because it seems like, I mean, honestly, the Backrooms is a series could totally work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally the YouTube series is very similar. But like you said, I do think the sketch comedy background and like all the variety and like constantly having to come up with new shit and be, like you said, social media presence and all that shit. I think Curry Barker is really tapped in a way that Kane Parsons is not really. And he's even said that he's like, I would just focus so much on the actual edit and creation of what I'm doing. And then once I'd upload it, I would go back later and like write the description or like, you know, do that. I wouldn't tag or like focus on the time of day that I should be posting or like the time, the length of my videos. Like he was like, I wasn't focused on any of that. So it's very different success. Whereas like, I'm sure that something that Curry Barker is very tapped into on his end would be all of those things.
Yeah. And it's also like, you know, Kane has got to kind of figure out his way of storytelling, you know, because like the YouTube series is so fractured and like it's told out of order and it's kind of hard to understand sometimes. And like you even see that a little bit in the Backrooms, like in the movie has like a narrative and it has, you know, character arcs, but like when I think of the Backrooms, I think of like I'm here for the vibes. I'm just here to get like lost in the rooms with it. Very atmospheric. And I don't know if there's a director that just like every movie they do is an atmospheric like horror movie. Whereas like you know, Zach Kreger with Whitest Kids, you know, Raka Raka, like Weapons and Barbarian, very different movies. And Talk to Me and Bring Her Back, very different movies. But the creative process and most importantly, timing, like their experience with comedy and timing and anticipation and working that into the story really important. And Kane's he's a kid. He's got to work his way through that and learn that. And just like he has a great foundation. But like, yeah, Curry Barker being 5 years older than him, those 5 years, there's a lot that happens in your life from 20 to 25.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you're totally right. And I think that's why like I feel like I'm still like that doesn't mean any diss. We're not talking about disses on Kane Parsons. It's more like he has so much like room to do everything and whatever he wants and like to become his own type of filmmaker. So I'm curious to see what journey he goes on.
Yeah.
I totally think honestly, a lot of the filmmaking that he does in Backrooms and even the like very kind of like, I guess, plot and character light like that he has, I would say like where it's more of based on the vibes. The only person that it really, I mean, I'm sure there's others I'm not thinking about, but really it reminds me of Stanley Kubrick. And I feel like Stanley Kubrick's aesthetic, especially in The Shining, feels so relevant here.
Yeah.
And so similar that I'm like, was he like the original Backrooms aesthetic? Is The Shining the original kind of, because it is like that mundane shit that is like just creepy.
Yeah. The empty space. Or
yeah.
I was gonna ask you because I feel like I have never heard the word liminal.
Yes, liminal
prior
spaces.
to this, or like liminal horror. I never heard this before this movie. And so I was guessing, have you heard of this subgenre of horror?
I've heard of it. I haven't explored it very much because it's like I feel like it's a very small category. So I guess I have explored it because like there's older ones like The Shining would technically count as
Shining,
that. There's I would say probably every David Lynch movie, but one that's called out here in a list is Lost Highway, which I agree is a very, very similar vibey movie. But like Skinamarink, Exit 8, and Backrooms, those all feel like in the same vein. I think there's like huge limitations for me as to what I would like and what I don't like. I don't like just pure vibe like Skinamarink.
Skinamarink was the problem with that movie is that it was so overhyped. Like me and you watched it and we're just like, what are people smoking? Like
I still think everyone is just pulling my leg with telling me that there's some fucking plot in that movie and like the kids' parents have been gone for X amount of time and it takes place over how many years? I was like, what? There's no way.
I wasn't able to do that podcast with you, but I'm glad that you brought on some people that did like it because I feel like you and me would have been like, I don't get it. What is this?
I was like, I think you guys are just pulling my fucking leg. This is a prank, right? There's no way that you got any of that. Did you watch a video? You had to watch a video because I didn't. I watched the movie and I fell asleep the first time, and then I watched it again and I didn't get shit. Nothing
would have been a good YouTube short movie.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I think Exit 8 does similar to Backrooms, where it's like it has a story and it's engaging, but it doesn't need to be the main focus. It's like how you think The Shining is such a beautiful film, but it is like very light in the characterization. It's very like, like kind of a lot of stuff unspoken, and they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that liminal space, like. I think of the sets when I think of The Shining, and like I think of the hallway that Danny rides the bike down. I think of the maze. I think of the main room where he's riding, where he's throwing the ball, the bar. Like I think I see those sets, and it's an
aesthetic and a vibe that you come back to and that you think back to with that. And I feel like Backrooms is so similar. That's the movie that I would say is the closest to Backrooms is The Shining, and it's similar to someone discovering this liminal space that goes on forever, but instead they're discovering this like liminal disturbed hotel that it could go on forever technically because it's like can fuck with itself. And it's like basically they both feel like they could be eldritch like beings possessed like these spaces, and that's what I love about it. There's no overt implication either way. Like you don't get definitive answers in The Shining or Backrooms.
I was gonna ask you if you agreed with this. I think I saw a quote that Christopher Nolan said that The Backrooms is like the most David Lynch movie since David Lynch, or something
Yes.
like that. Do you,
Yeah.
you love David Lynch? Do you agree? Does
Yes.
this movie feel like a David Lynch inspired kind of thing?
I would say so. It makes a little bit too much sense to be a David Lynch movie in the way that but there is still so many ways to read it and so many things unspoken that I think for me it does feel the same way as watching for me at least you feel the disorientation and like dreamlike vibe of the Backrooms is very similar to whatever setting, even if it's like modern day Los Angeles. David Lynch has a way to make you feel disoriented, and in scenes that seem like not creepy, there's like this existential dread, and then also the way of like kind of twisting and turning everyday looking things and items and people and twisting them slightly to make them dark or disturbing or unsettling is like something's wrong. That sense that just something's a little off. I think like it's so similar to David Lynch. It's not full on like Lynchian because I don't know who could really do that outside of him, but this is definitely that kind of vibe where it feels like every time you're in, at least for me, every time you're in the back rooms, like the way he moves the camera is absolutely like Lynchian. There's just a certain way that David Lynch moves the camera that you're like, how does he capture the floating feeling of the dream with the camera? It's fucking crazy. And this is exactly the same kind of vibe.
That was one part of this movie that I'm like, Osgood Perkins definitely helped on this. Was the visuals and like how you move the camera and how you make everything feel uncomfortable, and you're looking around the whole time.
It was cool to see his like definitely you could see how like there was definitely mentors helping with that, but I do like the fact that like overall the same kind of aesthetic that he started with in these YouTube videos, while like mostly in that VHS format, kind of like how we have some found footage scenes in the back rooms. It was so cool seeing that translate to like actual regular filmmaking style and like traditional film, digital, like and to still see that same vibe from those old like 90s VHS videos that he would put online. Like the same exact vibe, literally. And the fact that they built all of it was another thing that I was like, I would be fucking terrified to work on that set because I would absolutely get lost if I was shooting in there. I would not feel comfortable.
Well, that was the crazy thing. When I got done watching this movie, I'm like, I need a 2-hour behind the scenes making of documentary about this because I learned they actually built the back rooms. It's like a 30,000 square foot warehouse that they built all this in, and on the different days of shooting they gave the cast maps because it was so vast that people were getting lost as they were like trying to get to set.
See, I'm not even that crazy. This is exactly what would happen to me. I would pay good money for it behind the scenes. I'm sure it's available online. I'm gonna go get it after this.
I think I might buy the Blu-ray. I haven't gotten into a physical media collection. I've thought about it. This might be the movie that starts it because
but I mean, what has a fucking DVD player anymore?
Well, I'll buy one.
I know it's just so old school, Jace. But you're right. We shouldn't be ruled by the fucking streaming fucking apps.
But yeah, like I want the special features for this because it's just so crazy. Like, when I was watching the series, I'm like, before I realized that it's all made through Blender, I'm like, where are they making these sets with pools and neighborhoods? And
I was like, what fucked up fucking between space, like interdimension travel is he doing to get to this fucking space? Because it felt so real.
I was like, what billionaire is he the son of that's financing this?
Who's
like
funding the back rooms? Is this a real place? Honestly, I was a little bit not sure. You know, the first few, I was like, this shit could be, is he really out there fucking doing this? Like, maybe this is a documentary, guys. And he's just like making it out to be like a horror movie so that nobody loses their shit. But like, you could, totally, what is it? Like drop clip or just clip out of reality.
But I mean, I love that this movie opens with found footage because it feels right to where this comes from. I love the fact that this is not a reboot. This is actually just in canon with the
Yeah.
YouTube series.
The dates in this movie take place after the final date in the final episode of the series. So the YouTube series. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So it's just a continuation. So it's like there's no like this doesn't replace it. It's just like an extension of everything.
Well, and one of the things that's so interesting is that like there's a couple segments of the series that are just random people that clip into the back rooms, and it's just them being like, what the fuck's going on? But a lot of it is really centered around Async, the company, and like their operations. Whereas this movie, like Async they show up at the end of the movie, you know? So
They're hinted at and they're in the
Yeah.
background, but it's like, I mean, he was right to not have them featured in the movie because that was probably the hardest stuff to get through in the YouTube series. I was like, this is like a company fucking video, and
Yeah.
I'm working at a research lab, and I don't want that. Like, skip forward a few seconds, see what's going on. All right, let's get, it was
But
like a little bit was tough to keep involved, but like the found footage, I think is everyone's just favorite part. But
yeah.
I
Well,
think he involved the scientists and like Async and that whole like kind of government involvement or oversight aspect a great amount because it was
Well-
like not too little but not too much.
Well, and I think the movie is actually like the perfect way to start watching the back rooms.
Agreed.
Because then, you get introduced to Async, and then you can try and decipher the YouTube series. Probably watch an explainer video. There's lots of them. But
because you just watched the YouTube series and you have like just obviously already just recently now seen the movies, so you're like rewatching the YouTube series. It probably made 10 times more sense to you. Even if it didn't make much sense. I'm telling you, it didn't make much sense, if at all, to me. So I feel like it could be good to rewatch at some point after this, but I don't know if I could handle it again.
I'll say it gives me a lot of information for Backrooms 2, because Async has got to be more centered in that story, I would imagine. And so you learn kind of the fucked up things that Async is doing, even while they're trying to figure out this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the opening found footage is so great. And I actually I can't remember, but I think I heard that the guy in the opening found footage, he is one of the characters from the series.
Oh, cool.
So like there's a couple named characters in the series. So you actually like, oh, I remember that name or that guy, or like look into it. And so I think he's one of the guys. I'd have to look into it again. But
there's so many fucking research guys that you never see their faces and you just hear their voices and names. I could never tell you which one, but that's cool if it's connected. That's what I'm saying. This movie's full of like those Easter eggs for people that would like be knowledgeable enough to look for them. Like that's the thing. For me, I'm like, that's way past me. That's way over my head, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But yeah, that opening scene, it's so scary. Like the seagull, like the theater jumped, like everyone.
Dude, that was a great fucking jump scare because it wasn't like a normal one, and then also it was weirdly disturbing, and also like, and it just worked, and it was just the right kind of what the fuck.
Yeah.
There's a fucking dead bird in here.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then it's not dead. It flies again.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that for the opening, but it was perfect. And then, I mean, it feels like almost like basically every single one of the found footage element or sequences that you see in the YouTube series. It's like basically the same thing, which is people just like, oh, no clipping. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
No clipping into the back rooms. And then like keeping just running until they fucking get killed by something.
By
and it
the
just
life
keeps getting,
form, as they call
it. Whatever the life form is. And the government aspects are so like hard to follow because they're like, you don't get faces, you get names, but you're like, they're all wearing hazmat suits. It's very interesting that like I'm glad they're bringing that lore, but I agree. I think like, unless you're really wanting a deep dive, like the movies should be like, honestly, they'll probably have everything you need to like fully understand shit, but you'll just get extra enrichment out of the series maybe.
Well, and I feel like they're going to be able to tell the story of Async more fluidly and clearer
Hopefully.
in a movie format than some kid that's doing this between classes. Like,
Yeah, I would like to think so, but I don't know. So I did want to ask you about this because I this is something I think more recent because it's like literally just from July.
Mhm.
But there's been a bunch of controversy with A24 like trying to copyright Backrooms inspired fan art
Oh, yeah.
online and trying to removing people's artwork or like and saying that it's against their IP and copyright. But it's like a lot of
I was
shit.
worried this was gonna happen.
Exactly. And a lot of shit that was like, it's videos, video games, artworks made by a shit
There
ton of different people
there's
all
some
before.
great video games. I've played some really awesome Backrooms
Oh
video
man,
games.
I would fucking lose my mind in there. It's like my worst nightmare. Just like being lost and everything looks the same. I have no sense of direction. I would be like, whatever's in here, just fucking get me. I'm ready. I don't want to go through this. But it's so all this stuff like was made and distributed and like online well before A24 bought the
Mhm.
rights to the movie and all this stuff. And so it like a lot of people are really mad at A24 about this. And I was like, this is a huge blow to their reputation right after the whole AI deal.
Yeah.
And Kane Parsons has like publicly said that he's going to sort this problem out with them because it's like so bullshit and should not be happening.
Yeah,
And
because
he doesn't
he
want it to happen because he's like, it's not owned by me.
yeah,
And
like
that's the problem with them getting into these like, with creators' works that is like also independent creators, but also like from multiple sources online and
mhm.
doesn't really have an ownership. And then fucking a studio has to come in and try to own it and get money every time that somebody's trying to use it. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, like that's the reason why the Backrooms is so popular. Is
Mhm.
it's like an open source
Exactly.
experience.
It's an
And
open source urban legend online, so everyone can add to it. It's not like, I mean, I guess it is like repeating an urban legend and changing the story, but like literally doing it in a space where like it's encouraged and like you can literally add to the lore if people latch onto it. Like it's
yeah,
just, I mean, it's cool. Like it's like Kane Parsons didn't create this whole thing, but he made something that so many of the fans of like the idea of Backrooms have flocked to that like it might feel like they're like, oh, we can put a fucking IP, thing on it, but it's just garbage. And it feels like this is what you would expect from a typical Hollywood studio, but we would never expect this from A24 until now after their AI deal. I feel like this is fucking right on the money.
yeah, the last like month has really not been good for A24.
Yeah. So Neon is looking better and better by the day. And they haven't even fucking had to say shit on this, but like I feel like they don't need to. Netflix, meanwhile, is like, oh, we've used AI on like thousands of fucking projects,
Yeah.
but we've never mentioned it out loud. And you're like, great, love that for us. I hope it was worth it when we all have no water. But it's just crazy that A24 is doing this. I almost hope that he might take a deal with someone else now because like these two things together, like, well, at least this plus like the idea of just I feel like what they're trying, like the AI deal that Kane Parson also said he didn't agree with, and then this whole thing of trying to copyright it, it just feels like maybe he might go with maybe he'll go with Neon or some other shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want A24 to have the rights to this anymore after this. It feels like, I mean, maybe another studio would do it. I do feel like Neon, right? They got to be the only ones I'd trust with this at this point.
Yeah, Neon is probably the only one, but even still, like I don't know, IP is so important to all these studios.
Yeah,
Like,
but like you're literally by making this an IP, you're literally destroying the thing that people love about it. So I
yeah,
wonder if there will be something like where it doesn't happen this way. And maybe like he gets A24 to back down and they don't do it. And maybe they get him on their side and he still wants to work with them. But
I mean,
man,
he essentially would have to threaten, like, I'm not going to do Backrooms too. Like,
yeah.
that would be the only thing.
And can you imagine Backrooms too done by anybody but him?
Oh, no one would go see it. Like, it
No.
would be a huge bomb, especially
Yeah.
since this is the biggest box office of any A24 movie. It was
Yeah.
it's this, then it's Marty Supreme, and then it's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised I saw that Behind Everything Everywhere All at Once, the drama is number 4. I didn't realize that movie blew up so much, but
Good. Well, I mean, it has Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. So like
Yeah.
I just feel like those two can command an audience. And even more so after just seeing The Odyssey, I will say Rob Pattinson, anything he is in, I will see.
so but with this movie being way more about just like the strangers or the people that are experiencing the back rooms and less about async, it really leans on the performances of really 2 people. And I always screw his name up. Who's the guy who plays Clark?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Thank you.
Can you say the chick who plays Mary?
Isn't it Renee?
No, it's Renate Rainsby? Rainsby? I don't fucking know. I don't know how to say her name. Renate. Fuck me.
I saw the T and I'm like, I feel like the T is silent. I don't know. So I'm going to go Renee, but
It's not Renee. Don't call her Renee. That's my name.
it's not an insult. She's good. She was
I will say she is.
She's okay in this movie. She was the best part of Sentimental Value. But
It says her name is pronounced Renata Rinsva.
nailed it.
It is Norwegian. That's why it is not natural for me to say. So Renata, that's way easier than whatever the fuck I was trying to say. So Renata, much better. Don't call her Renee or I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
We're gonna say Clark and Mary.
Okay, Clark and Mary, sure. But yeah, no, let's say Chiwetel Ejiofor every single time we say his name. The only one I would like to do that with is maybe Mark Duplass, who's barely in the movie.
But Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think I got 80% of that.
You nailed it.
He was amazing in this. Like,
yeah,
he drove this movie, and like I remember when we did the pod for Hereditary, I talked about like I get so excited whenever there's a group therapy scene. I just like therapy scenes in general. So opening this movie and introducing these characters in a therapy environment, it was such a good way to just like tell us who these characters are. And he is so good just like being this beat down guy that life hasn't gone his way and he just lashes out because of it. Like, he's not a good guy.
No, but he's one of those actors that you inherently like him naturally, and I'm loving this trend in Hollywood right now, or maybe it's just independence, but like between this and Obsession, like
toxic
him and
men
like,
being toxic.
toxic men being toxic and being like a lead character in a film, and like the like dawning realization halfway through the movie, like, oh, they're the bad guy. They're the one that's insane. And I just feel like there's a lot of similarities between Clark and Bear from Obsession. And Clark in general is just like an older version, but like, I mean,
they're both guys that don't get what they want.
Yes, and take it out on other people and blame other people. The way that like he does the role play fights with his wife is like just extremely telling. If not the first time, but like especially later on when they have that crazy dinner scene. But he is so good in this because like we talked about him in The Life of Chuck.
Yeah.
And he's like in the opening of that movie, kind of your main character. And he's such a good, like, you always, I feel like him. Like he's just inherently likable as an actor. And like he usually plays a good guy. And those are my favorite actors right now that are playing roles where actually they're not really the good guy, but they might draw you in initially because you are used to that. And because they're so like, that's what they're great at. But then twisting it and seeing the other side of it and just, I love the trend, basically. Toxic men. This is a good one.
Well, and I like the parallel between Clark and Mary and how they respond differently. Like they both are experiencing this life didn't go the way I wanted it to. Like she put out a tape of her therapy thing, and I'm guessing it didn't sell very well. I
mean, she also seems like this movie's. It's not a time loop movie, but it is like you're stuck in a loop. And you're almost like you're stuck in the time loop of doing the same thing over and over again. And they're like Clark and Mary are both stuck in their own loops,
Yeah.
like she talks about.
Yeah.
You know,
They're both just doing the best they can, and that role play scene, that role play thing that they do with the fight, and then the way that comes back again later, like Clark's like, oh, I feel awkward. I'm not a good actor. Look, he gets into it. It
Yeah.
feels pretty real when he's doing that with his therapist.
I know. I love that element of it. And I love that, like, you kind of can insinuate all these things about his relationship with his wife.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, just from the role play alone, you're like, I could tell that he was definitely like verbally abusive to the wife, it sounds like.
Mhm.
And I would also even go as far as to say, like, I mean, I've seen a ton of theories online that he killed his wife before
I
the movie even started, and that like that's why when he goes back to go like spy on the house, like there's no one in there and he's like sleeping at the store out of guilt.
Yeah, I heard that too, and then the woman at the dinner table
The
at the end,
redheaded woman, the like
that
the copy of, maybe
that's
I
like
think
the
that is the
memory of
copy.
his wife or
Yeah,
whatever.
maybe he like, I mean, yeah, it's weird, and I think it's really cool. I feel like I can't remember specifically if this was as like clear in the YouTube videos, but to me, I feel like the coolest part about this movie is like the personal connections to the back rooms. And like Clark is like basically how we see that in all these different ways and how it evolves, and kind of how his negativity and anger spreads in the back rooms and like
Mhm.
produces more of that, but like fucked up, disturbing variations of it, like
Yeah.
Pirate Clark, which, by the way, is played by the same guy who played the fucking alien human hybrid at the end of
Oh,
Alien
that's
Romulus. And I was like, I'm not fucking surprised. That guy is insanely tall and his body is just like perfect for this shit.
that's
Um,
funny. I didn't
yeah,
realize that was the same guy.
Kane Parsons literally saw him in Alien Romulus and was like, I want that guy. I was like, smart. Cause like I mean, they barely show any kind of like, they sometimes show figures or like the creatures in the back ribs on the YouTube series, but like I feel like they're similar in shape, if not obviously not the appearance. And I like the fact that it was personalized to
Yeah.
Clark, and it was like a fucked up version of his pirate Clark in the persona that he does in the commercials. It just was really fucked up and disturbing and cool to me. That, and I love that he made it really, he sold it, right? I mean, the performance really sold it. And especially when he is in the back rooms, it goes fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was just, I feel like we don't get to see that from that actor all the time.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't always get to be manic and kind of like the villain, or like, you know, holding someone basically at gunpoint, kind of at like a dinner table. It was like watching the fucked up family dinner table scene in Texas Chainsaw,
Yeah.
and like the girls tied up, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? And everything is disturbing. He was so good, and I hope that like he does more performances like this, because he really nailed that.
Yeah, he's great. And yeah, the whole the way that they explain the back rooms and like what's happening is so interesting, because that's never touched on really in the YouTube series. Like the
He doesn't
movie,
have a personal relationship to anything. It's not like it's copies of like what people have seen, but also like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's like outside of maybe like people who work for the async, it's like none of those other people are like going in multiple times like Clark. Like nobody even tries to go out the exit of where they came in.
no,
That was brand new.
they pretty much all die. Like all
Yeah.
also Clark's the only non-async person who walks into the back rooms. Everyone else falls into the back rooms. Like it's
That's true.
the portal's
no
like
clip.
in the floor. And so
Yeah.
Clark's the first one that walks through. He actually has an entrance in and out.
Yeah, he does have it like way easier than most people.
But
Who
yeah,
just
it's
like end up there.
I mean, the other reason why the movie is the way to start watching the backrooms is because it actually tells you things. You actually learn things about the backrooms versus the YouTube series. You're just like, I'm here for the mystery because I got no answers. Like,
You got to go online to like see what people make of it, but it's all like theories. Like there's no like place where you can go to like a a Wikipedia page that'll tell you all the lore specifically. It's like, well, this person says this, and then
Yeah.
you add in this, and in this video, you can kind of insinuate, but again, it's not really straightforward. It's like it's very similar to like the movie where it's like they tell you, I mean, I would say the movie is way more clear, but like they tell you stuff, but there's a lot of stuff for you to fill in the blanks, which is how it should be. If they were to over explain anything about the back rooms, it would suck. And I feel like they explain a little bit of it, but I feel like he did a pretty good job, at least in the YouTube series, from what I remember, not getting too far into it. And I like the idea of like maybe this is something he's always wanted to include, but now he had the chance to include a character that you can like kind of build like or show the backroom's personal relationship to it, because it's like outside of the government people, the only person I've ever seen that goes in multiple times and lives and goes in and out through one door normally. Like
Mhm.
this was definitely something different than anything we'd seen before, but I thought it was cool because it gave us more answers, but it did not actually make sense. Like I think
Yeah.
the description of the backrooms in this movie of like it's like describing a dog to someone who's never seen a dog and then asking them to draw it. It's
Yeah.
like that was the best description of the backrooms ever.
It is perfect. And then yeah, just how you see how it just keeps reiterating on itself, and it gets like less and less from the original thing, and it just becomes this weird stuff. And that's the aesthetic that I love about this movie and the YouTube series. It's just like how fucking weird and nonsensical everything is. Just like hallways that don't make sense, just like ramps going up into other rooms or falling down random pits. The pool room is always my favorite. I think the pool room is just so cool. But yeah,
I hate
that
the pool room. Are you fucking kidding me? Would you
I-
get in that water? There's like
oh,
a fucking face in the wall there too. Like, get me out of here. This sounds like the back rooms is basically my nightmares. But is it scary to you, or would you be like, this is fucking crazy? This is
oh no,
cool. Let me keep exploring.
it's scary. It's
Like that laundry room when they're doing the found footage thing when he has
Oh.
like the two guys from the guy and the chick from the work
oh yeah.
from his and he hires them, and then the guy's on the string and goes down there.
Dude.
Like that fucking like all the laundry. I'm like, this is unsettling. Who the fuck would be doing laundry down here?
Or the Christmas tree room.
I hated that room. There's like at first I was like, okay, there's actual bodies in the floor, guys. Is this a quicksand room? That was
Yeah.
my first panic thought because I was, a 90s kid. But those were mannequins. So like it must have been like a recreation of like a store display, but like
Yeah.
what the fuck? But the laundry room, the thing that got me was like in the pile, one of the piles of clothes, like really dirty shit. One of those like cardboard cutouts.
Yeah,
that,
I
like,
saw
speaks-
that.
Like those caveman cutouts was in there, and it's like fuck, like that at first was like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? And then just like the way that they do that whole sequence is so good. But my god, I just thought like is some of it is just like weird office space stuff where you're like, but it is like literally just like whoever built this building was on acid when they made the floor plans, or
Yeah.
like the architect, whoever it was, they like built like fucking just stairways to nowhere, or the stairway over the entire fucking like over the huge empty space, and it like goes up to the ceiling. I was like, nope, I
Yeah.
would not want to climb that fucking stairway to hell, even though it goes up.
Well, I remember you texting me something about this, and like you were saying that the backrooms kind of reminds you of like AI.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Because I totally forgot that point. But that was something I really latched onto in these like rewatches like the last couple times, because it feels similar, especially when AI was first starting out, and it was
Mhm.
like, it feels like something non-human trying to replicate humanity and human things and human beings even, and like just totally failing because it will never understand humanity. Like it's not human in any way. So it's like I feel like maybe the back rooms, like the more that you're there, maybe it could get better and better. Like AI is like improving on itself and learning, but it does feel like this movie, like the back rooms feel like a great metaphor for AI to me. Do you see that too?
Yeah, totally. Like it kind of reminds me of like early 2020s when AI first popped off and it was all about like making stupid pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And people would be like, draw me a picture of a cosmic cat. And then they would like put a cat in an astronaut helmet. They're like, make it more cosmic. And then it would make it a little bit more crazy. Like, make it more like it was just more. And it would just go insane with like what it builds out. The Backrooms feels kind of like the opposite of that, where it's like every time it remembers something, it becomes less and less of what
Yes.
it originally was.
Which also is a great like metaphor for humanity in
Yeah.
another way, because like, you know, that whole thing of like every time you remember something, you're not actually remembering the actual occasion. You're
Yeah.
remembering the last time you remembered that. And I
Yeah.
was like, fuck, that's like an existential crisis kind of shit if you hear that. Like, what the fuck, man? But it feels like similar with this whole like AI of just like it's trying to make copies and understand it, or like Alien, right? Aliens trying to relate to human, and it's just like there's this huge divide we're never going to get over because you just can't understand unless you are human. And I feel like it's like that uncanny valley of like trying to be human, but like like obviously there's something off is just such a great element that this really taps into, especially with like the replicas of the people and like the way that they have like, you know, multiple eyes, or like multiple like their shirt like replicates too many times, or is like it's just their body's all weird. And they even like some of them have the personality still, but
Yeah.
it's like you wonder if it's actually like similar to how the person was. Like the redheaded chick seems like his wife, because like when the pirate Clark is coming, she like runs the other way and tries to get away, and like
Or like she
doesn't
knows fear.
yeah, exactly. Versus the other one just like sits there and does nothing. And then the other guy, like the little guy who like
He asks
pulls
him
up, he
to
like
turn the
turns his
light on,
yeah,
and he does, so like he can
the little
listen.
guy turns his like lamp on and off like really fast. So I was like, is he like getting scared? That's like his way of communicating. So it's very strange. Like, and I love the fact that you're just like, I'm not sure. Is there any consciousness here? Are they trying to like actually make living beings? Like, what is this place? It's just like an alien entity, which feels similar as a metaphor for like AI, which is like, well, we're never going to understand it. But it like the fact it's going to keep trying to mimic and like try to relate to us,
Yeah.
it's like almost the more it tries, it's going to get further and further away. And it's creepy that way.
Yeah, totally. One thing I thought about with this, because like I talked with a couple people, and like I've talked with a couple people, and several people I know did not like this movie at all. They were like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. And it was making me think about like, wonder if there's kind of like a connection of like, because this movie really drew in a lot of young people. And I tried to think back when I was younger and didn't know anything, and even as an adult I still don't know anything. But like I feel like that idea of like something just not understanding something, or something being impossible to actually understand, like if that feeling is somewhat comforting when you're at like a place in life where nothing makes sense, you don't know what's next, you don't know what you're going to do. Like I wonder if that's part of like the attraction to people, is just like it's like comforting. It's like, okay, I'm not the only one that doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like
It's so true, Jace. That is like a life truth that you just tapped into right there. Cause I 100% agree, which is insane that like a fucking 19, 20-year-old kid is the one who made this existential crisis movie. But you're so right, where it feels like it's exactly that. Like you just nailed it. And I can't even say anything else. I'm just going to say bravo.
well, it's
'Cause
like
that is like the most human truth of all, I feel.
well, it's like we talk about like movies like Eddington, where like
Mhm.
that is a very thought out, like, let's take all of the feelings from the last couple years, all the chaos that happened, and let's just put it into a ball all at once. And like let's illustrate that.
and he doesn't expect anyone to really respond positively to that movie. I mean, he like Ari Aster does that, expects debate. Backrooms, I kind of expected because it's like we're talking about liminal horror and like similar to like vibes over fully plotted out and stuff and really detailed, which like nerds go crazy for now.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they like everyone overanalyzes everything, is so critical, but it feels like, especially when you're a kid, like I don't know about you, but there's so many movies I can think of that I hated the first time, and then I rewatched them as an adult. I'm like, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
such an idiot, and I think it's because it was like challenging, like you said, or like you had totally different expectations, and you just can't like you're like, well, that sucks because it should be for me, but like you don't learn to appreciate a movie for what it is trying to be
Mhm.
versus what you want it to be, and I
Yeah.
think that like you said, at this age, nothing fucking makes sense. That's like the fucking life truth of the episode for everyone right now, is that nothing makes sense and that it feels good when art also is like, yes, life does not make sense. It is a big fucking pickle for everybody.
Well, and it makes sense in the context of like a 15-year-old kid writing this story, because what experience is he writing from? Like what
Thank you.
what profound thing is he trying to tell versus
Well, he did co-write this movie with
I'm talking about the
Will.
YouTube series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the YouTube series feels empty, which makes sense for a 15-year-old. Like
Yeah.
like what's going on? I would never ask a 15-year-old what's going on in life. You know, like they don't know.
Yeah. Can you tell me about the vast emptiness and like the horror that I feel just like looking at these vast empty spaces that are never ending? It's like, what is that? You know? Like, have you ever gotten down to like one of those? That's like some like fucking getting high or like doing acid and having a weird conversation. But like, I don't think younger kids are like, I would think that they're not really associating with it. It says there's a co-writer on Backrooms movie, Will Sudik, and it says he also has written on Homeland and Westworld and Ash versus Evil Dead. So I feel like
Hell
he
yeah.
must have helped maybe with some of that, but it is interesting to me that like someone so young can capture this feeling of like, and maybe it's just because it's starting younger with people now because the world is so shit that like younger people are like having to mature quicker because they're realizing, yeah, nothing is fucking sacred, nothing's safe, everything is confusing, and nobody knows what they're doing, least of all the people in charge, right?
Yeah, totally.
And like if the back rooms isn't a metaphor for that, and like all these things, I mean, I don't know what is. And so maybe it's just like that younger kids could just, it's easier to relate to that feeling now. But I do feel like there is a lot of people that were just like, I needed more story or whatever. And I think that like they're missing the point of like what the Backrooms is, like we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
about this like unspoken truth that like if they were to talk about it, it would ruin it.
Like I think it's so perfect that May had this crazy lineup of movies that are all so different, because
Mhm.
that's the beauty of movies. We don't want to watch the same movie over and over again. Like I want
Yeah.
just like a simple but also nuanced movie like Obsession. But then also I want vibes, man. I want to feel lost and I want to watch the Backrooms. And sometimes I want to get with the folklore and watch Hokum, you know, like
Mhm.
and have some of the scariest scenes of the year, you know, like movies like that. Like
Or even Passenger, I might just want a road trip curse horror film that's actually filmed really fucking
with
well and actually a
great
good movie.
filmmaking.
But if it was released any other month, people wouldn't have given it shit.
Yeah.
I feel bad because it just came out with like these other monsters that were just like probably in the top. They're going to be, at least I would imagine, Obsession, Backrooms, and Hokum feel like the top 3 horror films of the year at this point. Could change, but like those are
Yeah.
going to be like you know, I mean, it's impressive that Passenger is still a good movie. It's
Mhm.
really not bad, but
Yeah.
like the fact that we got all of these, I like what you're saying. Like I want a sampler platter. I want a little bit of everything. I want variety with the horror, and I feel like there's so much room for this kind of like liminal horror as we're going back and like just we should copyright it at this point if it's not. I mean, I heard you can make money that way. But we should like I know, but I feel like this space has like barely any movies that belong to it. I feel like there's probably a ton if you like really deep dive that like
Mhm.
are I bet there's a lot of found footage that would qualify, or like there's other movies. But I still feel like it's probably less than 20. So
Mhm.
this could be a great category to tap into for like a major box office. Cause even if somebody does something that's like Backrooms like, but not Backrooms, I feel like that is something that people would be more open to engaging with at this point, because Backrooms might have opened a door for a lot of people, introducing it into the mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I feel like we gotta talk about the dinner scene,
Yeah, my
and
favorite.
like from there to the end of the movie, it's just nonstop. Like it's crazy. And
Yeah.
the one thing I definitely was not expecting was for us to switch main characters. Like I wasn't expecting to
Halfway
lose
through.
to lose Clark. I mean, first off, it like you were saying, he is great when he can be the unhinged villain. Like his monologue at the
Oh
dinner
yeah.
table, I was so locked in on every word he was saying. And even like
Yeah.
right before that, when he like sneaks up on her when she first goes into the back rooms, like,
I
oh
was like, dude,
Jesus.
I was like, this guy's clearly fucked after like he like comes out from hide and he's like, you're being too loud. I was like, oh boy, I'd be out of here. I'd be running the opposite direction at this point. Patient or not, we are now in some other alternate dimension. This is farther than I would ever go. That's farther than the call of a doctor, I would say. Beyond the line of duty. You could go back to go back to your regular dimension at this point. But the fact that okay, I wanted to ask you about this. So this is perfect. But what do you think about the fact that we don't get to see Clark's transition fully from like the character, like kind of the lead characters you're saying, to like the fully like I'm insane Clark and I like it and I live in the back rooms now? How do you feel about that happening off screen? Because I think that was a problem for people I saw online. There was a lot of comments about it, but I personally thought that I don't know if that would have just made the movie a lot longer. And I kind of
Yeah.
enjoy the fact that we switched to a different point of view, which we already had hints of her flashbacks with her mom,
Yeah.
who's like agoraphobic and won't go outside.
Yeah.
We get those flashbacks from the beginning, but like you still see her as a supporting character until that switch, which I think is why they don't show his transition. But what do you think?
I mean, obviously I would have liked to see it because I just love his performance.
He would nail it. Yeah.
But I agree with you. It makes sense for the runtime, and then also it makes sense in that, if the movie's going to end and Mary is going to be the survivor and Mary is going to be essentially the lead in the next one, like it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to give us another 15 minutes of Clark going crazy.
Give me that in the like extended edition,
Yeah.
and you get like on
Give me that
digital.
director's cut.
Give me that extra 30 minutes of Clark going nuts slowly in the back rooms, montage, however it has
Him
to
just
be.
kicking it with Captain Clark.
Exactly. I want to see him and Captain Clark. Did they have some understanding, or did he just avoid him and then think because he's me, we can have a conversation and he'll listen? It's just so strange, but I would love to see that in the extended, but it's not necessary at all, like you're saying for this version. Like I think 100% they need to put Mary in the forefront earlier if she's going to be the one that we're latched onto the second half, and that we already kind of like have a fondness for and that we relate to, maybe even more so than Clark. Because like, I mean, maybe maybe a lot of people could probably relate to Clark, but it's also like he's pretty fucking angry, and like, you can see where this is going once he like starts getting a little manic, like. But when he fully goes crazy, like I think that's perfect, and it's almost more frightening because we haven't seen any build up to it, and we're as scared as she is because she also hasn't heard from him.
Yeah, because like
So it puts you in her shoes, right?
Because we don't really know how long he's been gone when she starts looking for him. She goes to the store and all the mail is there.
Mhm.
So it
implies a while, but
had to have
not
been at least a month or two. Like at least.
from the amount you could guesstimate that from the amount of mail. That's pretty good.
That would be not an expert. That would just be my guess. So like you
Yeah,
get your junk mail, you get bills. It says past due, so it has to at least go through one billing cycle for it to be
Smart.
past due.
Jace, that's good. That's some good estimating skills. I just had to double check her work there because I was like, are you basing that on just the number of envelopes there? Because that's some specific crazy math I kind of am curious about. But that makes sense because it would be like if it's monthly and it's rent, like or some like bill that's late, like that comes at the end of the month. So if not a month, at least a few weeks, I think. And
Mm.
enough. I mean, who knows? This could have been like fucking 1 week, and this guy went nuts. But I do feel like it is implied it's been at least like three weeks or like a month or two.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
it could be
I
any number,
think
but
he sees her at least once a week or something.
yeah.
So
So it's been a little while, and then when she shows up, it's like you're. I like it because it's still like they show people going into the back rooms like multiple times. Like you get Clark going in the
Yeah.
first time, then when he brings his employees, and then her. But like I like that they don't. It doesn't feel like it's just repetitive,
yeah.
and it almost feels like you're kind of seeing it a little differently each time, like through each person's eyes.
Yeah. You're seeing different parts of the back rooms
Yeah.
every time they go through the back rooms.
Which makes you think, is it like changing right before we get here? Because it's like always changing. I always wonder that. Like, how far in advance is this place built? Like, is
Yeah.
it fully built out? Or like if you were to like fucking go through it really fast somehow, could you get to a point where it's like still like constructing itself?
Like it's
'Cause, I would
loading.
yeah. Like what the fuck? It's nuts.
So I was going to ask you, of these three things during the dinner scene, what made you go, whoa, the most? Was it when he says we can eat them and then he just pulls the guy's like stomach out and it's like it looks like he's just made of marshmallow? Was it when he opened the fridge and we saw his employee Cat's head in there and it's like, was he eating Cat, or is Captain Jack eating Cat, or was it when he scalped his wife's copy and then put the wig on her for the role play? What made you go whoa the most?
Probably when he said that we could eat them.
Same.
Like, all right. Because there were definitely like those are all three like some moments that you go, huh, I haven't seen that before. I wasn't expecting that. I would say also like the way that his like Captain Clark like other self, like when he picks him up and bites him in the shoulder, like that also was like a whoa, we're
Yeah.
going there, like that moment. And that was probably the only other one that I might have spoken out loud for, but like literally this one I was like, oh boy, yeah.
I remember I was so locked
was
in
crazy.
on his monologue, and then when he just stops and says, "The best part, we can eat them," I was like, "What?"
Like, dude, this is about to be some Hannibal Lecter shit. It's what I was expecting, like some fucking Hannibal, like that movie when he like cuts open the guy's head and he's like serving part of his brain. I'm like, what the fuck are we gonna do here?
I remember I saw that and I'm like, so Clark is just down there hunting these copies. Like that's how he's
mean,
surviving.
Are they just like do they just like spawn once he eats them all? Like, I don't know. And also tell me if I'm wrong, but I was curious. What did they taste like? Did they taste like marshmallow? Are they good? Like, I would have been curious. I probably would have eaten a bite. They look like just styrofoam, but I kind of thought they were like gooey, like mochi or something.
Yeah, I was like, and I don't think the back rooms is copying seasoning, so he's just eating it raw. So
It must be good enough.
maybe
or
it just
he's
maybe it just
crazy.
tastes like rice. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I was hoping for like mochi, like sweet, like or marshmallows or something, but like
Best case,
would be great.
it's a little tasty.
yeah.
Or
But
like,
either way, I would try it if you
I was-
put it on my plate.
I was imagining like rice or just like biting into a potato.
Yeah, that moment I think is what really made me feel like this is definitely a scene that feels inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre because that crazy ass dinner scene in the original movie and like it's just so bizarre and she's just like sitting in the chair just like what the fuck and like terrified, eyes huge, like trying to scream, but they actually have her gagged, but like the shit that they're doing is just so fucking bizarre and weird and you're just like this is just unsettling to watch, like, and
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy that Clark really just nailed that. But once he started eating the people, I was like, okay, so this is like it feels inspired by Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
And I loved that because it felt like we need more fucked up dinner table sequences like this in movies because I love that. Like that was some good shit.
And I like the decision they made to not have Mary be like a manic screaming like
Yes.
captive. She's just sitting there like kind of psychoanalyzing, but then
Well,
also
yeah,
he's like, I have to get the fuck out of here. Like
She's like his therapist, but she's like, that's why I was like, she's very calculating and smart, and she doesn't speak up, and she like tries to placate him, but when he's like, no, 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 not yet. Let's do it like through.
Yeah.
Let's do the reenactment. And I'm like, oh boy. And then it just gets really more crazy. And my favorite moment, I think, outside of his monologue, is her monologue of being like, you know why your wife left you?
yeah.
It's like just you're whining. You won't stop whining. And just like it was like, yes, that's kind of everything that I've been feeling about Clark this whole time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so like I imagine every therapist in the whole fucking world was like, God,
Yeah.
that if I
they
could
want
be
to
in an
just say
alternate
it.
dimension trapped by my patient and I could have the free will to say that, I would be great. Maybe not the other elements of it, but it was just so good. And I honestly was very shocked that he even lets her go.
Yeah.
But I really, it was like just it totally felt in character for him to be like, I don't have to change. I don't want to change, and I'm
I
not
like
going
it
to.
here.
Yeah, like he can basically hide out here and pretend that his world is whatever the fuck he wants, I guess. And not face any of the shit that he actually is doing. And I just love that he's like all at peace with that and thinks like Pirate Clark is or whatever is gonna do it or is gonna be on board. And he's just like, I'm hungry, man. If
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat her, I'm gonna eat you. And like what, like all the blood spilling out, I was like, damn, all
Yeah.
right, here we go. Cause like I'm pretty sure there's not like there's not really any gore in the Backrooms like YouTube series. If there is, it's like very minimal that I remember.
If there's blood, it's just like blood on the wall or on the floor. But like we don't,
Mhm.
you don't see any blood.
So I like the fact that we saw like him like lean down, and I love how Clark like thought he was gonna like give him a hug or something. He was,
Yeah.
like, so ready to be like, "Aw," and then it's like just takes a bite out of him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is good shit."
Well, then, I mean, I'm really happy that we got this movie because Scream 7 was so bad we didn't get a single chase in that movie, and then we get a great chase to end this movie of her just running through the back rooms and seeing all the stuff. I loved the room that was just filled with couches.
Me too. I was like, and then of course she like twists her ankle. I'm like, I would have twisted my ankle way earlier in this. I would hate running through here. Like, get me out of here. It was such a great and really tense sequence, and like the parts where she like goes into like a place that's like actually too tight for him,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, she got away, but then it's like, somehow he finds his way, and it's like, oh shit, he's still in pursuit. Like, what does this fucker want? Just to eat everybody? What's his deal? And it's like he's literally just like the anger manifestation of Clark,
Yeah.
like the most essential of like element of him, basically drilled down to that.
Yeah.
This really fucked up thing, and it just works so well.
And we get that great shot of her when she gets through the couch room, and then it's just like the pit, and it just shows all the layers of the back rooms. And it's like the first
like a
time
fucked up apartment building.
it's like the first time we get
Complex.
like get kind of a visualization of just how massive this place is. And like I love seeing the different rooms, but then that shot of just like seeing this endless well of
Yeah.
of floors in different rooms and stuff. It's like, holy shit.
That was like extremely unsettling. I feel like there was like I remember some of that in the YouTube series, and that stuff really worked for me because I was like, wow, like those scenes, like you don't quite grasp it when you're watching it through like the handheld camera or like someone personally exploring. It's like the fact that they were able to incorporate that here though, where she just happens to like go into this like kind of weird outer area where things connect, and you just see all these fucking vast, like it literally is like a huge complex of things, and you're like, fucking A. And then like thank God she can go up the stairway to the ceiling, but like fuck that stairway. Why
Yeah.
is it so like that? I was like, this is stressful, just that alone. And then of course, like the fucking pirate guy trying to get through the doggy door, like that
Yeah.
hand. I was like, oh my God. This was like exactly what I wanted in any of like those slasher movies, like Scream, or even I Know What You Did Last Summer. I wanted like some good fucking like chase sequences, which
Yeah.
those two franchises are known for. And where do we get it? Backrooms. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even believe it, but it was so good. And the fact that like it also kind of ties the end of the chase ties into the lore where like she knocks over one of those fucking caveman stand-ups and
Yeah.
that's like speaking in all the languages. And that is like confirmed. It triggers an alarm and all the smoke and like fucking shit from the company. So you realize that those have been left there on purpose by them. And
Mhm.
they're looking to either communicate with people who get there or like trap things. I don't
Yeah.
know. Or like to find if there's entities in there. I have no idea if they're trying to engage them with those things, but like it seems plausible.
Yeah, like
Maybe they're trying to see if
they're
they
trying to
respond.
lure him in.
Yeah, because it's like something that they like sent out into space back in the day. It's like that's what those same things are. Like they would send out these cardboard cutouts that would speak in every language, like welcome or this is Earth, hello,
Oh.
looking for intelligent life. And that is like exactly what this is. So I was like, that's really funny. So that's what made me think maybe they're trying to communicate with either things in the back rooms or maybe the back rooms itself. But I just love that when she trips over it, you're like, all the smoke comes out. You're like, oh shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
they are like they're doing something here because you also see like they don't really linger or like focus on it, but you see cameras everywhere,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
up above. But the characters never really like paid much attention to it or worry about it. But like you notice it, and that's like where Mark Duplass really comes into the movie, which I love how he's like barely in the movie. But before I saw it, I knew he was going to play someone at the company. He just seems like one of those kind of shady employees that like
Company
you
man.
would. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, of course he's going to be in the mysterious role, and of course he was.
Yeah, and the movie really sets itself up well for a sequel because Clark is dead, Mary is now our sole survivor, and then we're also introduced to Phil, Mark Duplass, who is like one of the scientists, and he has been watching Clark this whole time and like
But he has a
studying him.
family.
Yeah.
And he's like, he seems like a normal guy. And he's like, I've been there too. We could talk about it and try and figure it out. Like, he seems like a genuine person, but you're also like, this company is so like sketchy sounding. And the fact that we have like at least a company character and like a protagonist with Mary, like, I feel like you're 100% right that like they've set it up for the next one. And like, I love the fact that it could take place with Mary, or it could be something else, or it could, be with Phil, maybe, or like, and focus just more on the company. But like, I have a feeling they'll still, I think the character element works really well. And I think they should lean into that because I like the way that they've incorporated that as like almost a trait of the back rooms. So it's like they kind of have set themselves up where they need to really focus on good characters that like can do something interesting with like the way the backrooms is trying to replicate them or relate to them. But yeah, I think the sequel, I have no doubt it'll be great. Like he's already proven he can do multiple in a series. Obviously, they're very different in like the YouTube series, and like some of them are like kind of boring or like weird. But overall, I think there's just a lot of potential for this.
Well, somehow, some way, we made it out of the back rooms to keep talking about other movies, I guess.
Speak for yourself. My mind is still strapped back there, man. It's a scary ass place. I don't know if I like this could be my fucking backrooms twin that you're talking to over here.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it while we were talking about the movie, but rewatching the YouTube series, there's one segment at the end that essentially kind of gives the implication that the back rooms are not just rooms, like it's a whole world. Like one of the rooms he goes into is like an office space that has windows, and he sees other buildings like out the window. So I'm really curious to see if the movies ever like explore, is it more than literally just an IKEA in an alternate dimension? Like, it's like, is this just a full other world that's constantly reiterating on itself?
Maybe it's a sentient IKEA from another world.
Ooh.
Like, like it's basically, it is IKEA, but it's got a mind of its own, or it's like trying to take over the world slowly by replicating it and then like replacing it.
The hive and the mind at the center of it. It's not a mind. It's just a giant Swedish meatball.
That sounds about right. That for with where we're headed. We're being like our president is a giant Swedish meatball at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, speaking of ridiculous things, we are watching a movie next week that just came to VOD. We've talked about most of the movies leading up to it. We're really excited to finally talk about this one because we've been waiting for it. Renee, what are we watching?
We're going to be watching Scary Movie from this year, 2026, also known as Scary Movie 6. But because they don't acknowledge 3, 4, and 5, it's just Scary Movie. So they're kind of going like the reboot route. But it's got the Wayans and Anna Faris and Regina Hall back. And it lives up to the hype. And I thought it was fucking hilarious and so fucking good. I cannot wait to talk about it with you because I just think this is like way smarter than Scream 7 was. And like they tried so hard, I feel like, or maybe they didn't, I don't know. But this was smarter than that, which just goes to show how full circle we have fully become.
Yeah, and it's not spoilers, but I was really surprised at how many people they brought back into the franchise. Like almost a bunch of people from 1 and 2 that were just one-off characters. They're back in this movie, and they bring the jokes back from those movies. Also, it's really fun. And this movie feels like it was made for people who love the first 2 scary movies. So.
Yeah. Like it's so different from the later ones. Like you literally will watch this movie with a grin on your face and like just the entire time, and every little thing in the background, like you probably won't catch it all at first watch, but like literally if you ever like just freeze frame, like everything in the background is a fucking joke. It's insane. These Wayans are just the best, and I cannot wait for the next one because I'm sure they're gonna make another one.
It's gonna be awesome. But
yeah,
all right, that is
and right now, oh wait, I was just gonna say it's not streaming. I think you already said it, but you can rent it or buy it on demand.
But
okay,
yeah, worth the rent, worth the buy. Yeah,
I would say worth the buy because also there is a alternate version with like bonus features, so you get like extra jokes, and then for both versions though, watch all the way through to the credits to the very end because there's like so much extra of the long leg stuff, and
nice.
It's so fucking funny.
All right, well that's it for this week. We'll see you next week on the regular exclusive podcast.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out here.